I'm back with another Girl Scouts at Home video for you, Life Skills Edition. And today I'm sitting in my car because we're going to do some car maintenance. This video today is an Adulting 101 car care video. And if you're at the senior level, you can work on your car care badge right here. So the stuff you're going to learn today will help with one of the steps of getting this badge right here. So today we're going to go over a few different things. It's just some basic car maintenance. Basic car maintenance that you should know is how to change a tire, changing oil, which we did in a different video, checking tire pressure, and then if your tire pressure is low, to fill up some more air. We're going to do that today. Changing your windshield blades, using jumper cables, and checking the different fluids in your car. So that could be your brake fluid, your radiator fluid, your oils, transmission fluid, power steering, and windshield wiper fluid. We're going to go over how to check some of those fluids today with my car, and I'll show you kind of the general location of where they're at underneath your hood. Sometimes they can be a little different, but they're usually like the same, and they're labeled. But I'll point that out to you today. So we're going to first start off with how to check our tire pressure. So in order to do this, you'll need two things. The first is a tire pressure gauge. I just got mine from Walmart. I just keep it in my car. I've had this since like high school, but you can get it at Walmart, O'Reilly's, any car store. Target probably sells it, Menards, Home Depot, pretty much any store. I think gas stations might even have these because people go to gas stations to fill their tires up with air. So you need a tire pressure gauge, and then the other thing you'll need is an air compressor if your tire pressure is low. I do not have an air compressor at my house because I usually just go to the gas station when I need to fill up air, but I am showing you how to do this at my house today. So you'll need that for this today. So we're going to go start with checking our tire pressure, and the first thing we need to know is how much PSI do we need in our tires. So it's different for everyone's tires. A lot of people say, oh, where do we find the PSI? That's a good question if you're asking that. The PSI for how much air you need in your tire, it can be found on your tire. I know you probably can't see where I'm pointing, but mine says 51. But when you find it on the tire around the rim of the tire, it will be found here. If you find the PSI on the tire, that's the maximum PSI that could be in this tire, not the suggested amount for your car. So I always suggest to go to your driver's side door, and then we look here on our driver's side door. Oh, I just fell a little bit, sorry guys. We look here on our driver's side door, and so mine says, I'm going to touch the screen so you can focus it. Mine says that 35, if you guys can see it right there, is the suggested PSI, or what would be best for my tire. So now that we know that we need 35 for our car, we're going to go to our tire. So we're here at our tire. Okay, the first step is you take your tire gauge, and you want to make sure that it's pushed all the way in. So you just push the bottom all the way in. It's good. So the next step is to go to your car, and we're going to take off the cap off our little valve. And you would want to make sure you don't lose these. As a kid, when I was putting more air in my bike tires, I always lost these somehow. My parents were always rebuying these for me. So then you just take your gauge and you put it on, and it will just make a little, and then you look at how far this is out. So looking at mine now, we can tell that it's 2.5 lines above 30. And so you also need to make sure if yours goes, if yours has 2 lines between, if yours has the, if each dash on yours between the number is 2 or 1. So mine's 2. So if it's 2.5 lines between 30, that means it's 35. So that's good. If it wasn't at 35 though, we would take our air compressor and we would put it on here the same way and just fill it up with some air, and then we'd have to press the bottom in again, and then we just check it again and see where it's at. So mine still says it's at 35, which is perfect. We want it at 35. If it didn't say that it was at 35, then, or say it said it was at 36 or 38, but we wanted it at 35, we'd just turn our gauge around, and there's this little back button right here, and if you just push that in right on it, the same way we're measuring the pressure, but turn around, push it in, it will let air out. So say I'm at the gas station with the air compressor and I overfill it to 38, I'll use the back side of my gauge to let some air out, and then I test it again to make sure I got it to 35. So that's how we check our tire pressure. The next thing we are going to do today is check remember when you're done, I almost forgot right there. When you're done checking your tire pressure or putting more air in your tires, make sure you put your cap back on your tire. You gotta do that really fast. So the next thing we're gonna learn to do today for some basic car maintenance is we are going to look at the different fluid levels in our car. So the first step to this is to make sure we pop the hood. Everyone's way to pop their hood could be a little different in their car. Mine is right underneath my steering wheel is right there. It's right here. I just pop the hood and then I am going over to my car. My car's a little messy if you saw inside it, and it definitely needs a car wash, but that's okay. So after you pull the little button, there's another thing underneath here that will help you pop the hood. I don't know if I push up, push down. I always have a little bit of problems. So I'm gonna pop the hood and then I'll be right back because I need two hands. I'm back, and this is what my car looks like when it is popped. The hood is popped and I can look inside at the engine and the different parts. So the first thing that we want to, I'm just gonna show you the different things. So one thing that's really easy to check in your car is your windshield wiper fluid, and that's usually towards the front of your car off to one of the sides. And so it's labeled right here, windshield wiper fluid only. And in order to check this, you just pop it open and you kind of just look to see how much you can see in it. I don't know if you can see in the video, but when I look down the tube, I can see my windshield wiper fluid. Still has fluid in it, and it's good. To refill this, all you do is go buy a jug of windshield wiper fluid at Walmart or Riley's, any store that sells it. Gas stations sometimes have it too, and you just dump it on in. Sometimes it can spill, so a funnel is helpful. Just make sure, but this has a bigger circumference hole to dump the fluid in than other things in the car. And then you just pop the cap all the way back on until you hear it click. That's how you check and change your windshield wiper fluid. Right now I'm not adding any more in my car. Another thing that's important to check is your oil, so we'll go over that. If you watched our how to change the oil video, you know that after we put in the new filter, we take this off and we have to put our oil in. We use a funnel and we dump it in there. But if you just want to check your oil to see how much oil you have in your car, you use this, which is called your dipstick, and a paper towel, which I have right there. And after that, we'll go over the steps. So I'm going to try to set you guys up to see. Let me pause it and get a good direction, and then I'll come back. I've kind of found a position where I can show you the dipstick and what I'm doing while still having two hands to show you what I'm doing. I probably should have asked my sister or someone to videotape this for me, but I'm doing it while they're all at work. So the first step into changing your oil is to locate your dipstick, which we have right here. And so you want to take the dipstick, just pull it out and use a paper towel, and you just want to hold it, pull it all the way out, and clean it all the way off. Sometimes you want to give it a few swipes, clean it all the way off. Next thing you do is reinsert the dipstick, push it down, and sometimes this can be hard to pull out, pull it out, it's easy, but to push it back in, it can be a little challenging because some of them only want to go in a certain way. So then you pull it back out and you just follow the two lines, and you want to look to see where your oil is. If I put this close, you can see that there's these two dots, 1 dot, 2 dot, and the little shiny yellow stuff you see right there, that's my oil, and so it stops right here. This is the minimum dot, and this is the maximum dot. You always want the amount of oil in your car when you pull out the dipstick to be between these two dots. If it's closer to the minimum dot, that means your oil is low, and you should probably use a funnel and add some more oil. But since mine is close to the maximum dot, we are good. And I always like to check it twice, so I just clean it off again and then reinsert it one more time. I was having a little bit of problem there. And then just pull it out. So clean it off until I see. And you can see, as I can see, that it's still right in the same spot between the two dots, so that's good. So to check your oil, that's the simple way to do it. You just put it in. If your oil was close to the first dot, you would add more oil the same way we added oil when we did the oil changing video, which is taking off this cap right here and using a funnel. The first time when I was in high school, I drove a car that wasn't the nicest. It burned oil, so I had to constantly check my oil and add oil. The first time I added oil, I thought because the oil you checked it came from the dipstick, that maybe that's where you added the oil, and I just didn't process it. I told my parents, oh yeah, no, I can do it. I know how to check my oil, I know how to add oil. And I used a funnel and tried to funnel the oil through the dipstick. Did not work the best, huge mess. My mom came out and was wondering what I was doing. We had to clean it all up. She told me that you put the oil, same spot where you put the oil in from an oil change, a lot bigger hole to put the funnel in to make sure you don't make a mess. So just remember that if you have to add more oil through the same little spot that you add it for the oil change. And remember, if you have to add more oil but you don't know what type of oil you have, on some cars it will say on your little cap for the oil. And on other cars, if it doesn't stay there, you can just go into O'Reilly's or any car shop and they will be able to tell you. If you tell them your type of car, the model, so mine's a Toyota Camry, and the year it was made, and they'll be able to look it up for what type of oil you need for your car. So I hope this was very helpful and informational on how to change your oil, add new windshield wiper fluid, or even just to check your tire pressure. I hope you guys all had a fun time watching this and you learned something. If you enjoyed this video, keep watching this Girl Scout home video and other ones. We love having you guys tune in. If you have any questions, leave them down below and we'll answer them. If you have anything you want a video on, even if it's not to do with cars, anything at all, leave it down below and I'll make a video on it, or maybe somebody else can make a Girl Scout home video and we can have our curriculum be what you guys want to watch. So have a good day, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye.